lot of Goldman players in the Obama administration. But there was another guy, Patterson. I think it's Mark Patterson or Mike Patterson. But he was handpicked to oversee the group that has like all the money in it for all these bailouts. So he's got a little bit less than $1 trillion to play with.
Nice.
Yeah, trillion. So he's in charge, and he's a former Goldman Sachs guy, handpicked by Obama to be the chief of staff for this bailout refunding group. So, you know, here you got the guy running the Treasury, another guy with nearly $1 trillion, and that's just the beginning. You know, the current administration is loaded with these Goldman Sachs guys. And they're all powerful because it's all about who you know.
Of course.
Who you can reach out to give people money and buy influence, or who you can reach out to collect some money from.
So it makes you wonder, Jim. You know, right now they're attacking Goldman Sachs, trying to demonize them, yet they seem to be big players within the administration. That's a big question mark.
It is a big question mark. You know, it's kind of... Goldman's been just skating by, you know, for years now. And we've watched other companies, you know, get shot in the head and killed by the Federal Reserve Bank, you know, such as Merrill Lynch, you know, Lehman Brothers, all these companies, big power brokers that just got wiped out in the beginning and middle of this recession. And probably, in my opinion, most of what the government did there was illegal too. It doesn't matter. It shows how powerful the Federal Reserve is, you know. So what are they doing now is the question. And kind of, I think in a nutshell, it comes down to two things. Either this is all window dressing, and they're just giving them a slap on the wrist because Goldman came out with, once again, huge profits, you know, more billions than anybody expected them to be making, where everybody else is losing money. So it's like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. You know, these guys are running the government, running the country, and they're totally outdistancing all the other banks and brokerage firms with making money, which, you know, you want your banks to make, and brokerage firms to make money. They're in the money business. They should be somewhat good at that.
Yeah, you want them to stay solvent.
We want them to be solvent and stay in business. It doesn't do anybody good when they go bankrupt. Not that there have been, as you and I have talked about, Jeff, there haven't really been any banks that have gone bankrupt. They've just gotten taken over and closed down by the Fed and the FDIC, but none of them were really bankrupt. But, you know, back to Goldman, it's like, that could be one scenario. People said, okay, you know, yeah, I mean, it could even be Goldman. You got to know that behind the closed doors, there's discussions going on between the president, his hand-picked Goldman men, Congress, and their Goldman connections. Yeah. And they're all saying, what should we do here? You know, this doesn't look good in the press. And, you know, one scenario is Goldman could say, okay, look, go ahead, drag us in. You know, put us on the stand in front of Congress. We'll put up with it, and this will make news to make American people happy that you guys are doing something. And in the meantime, business goes on as usual. You know.
So the administration looks like heroes for going after them, but in the end, nothing really will be done about them.
Yeah, that's very plausible. And, I mean, honestly, I don't know what they're doing or what's happening there. Probably very few people do, except for the insiders at Goldman and insiders in the government, you know. But I think it's highly likely that that's what this is. It's a big charade. Yeah.
Well, that's how I've looked at it.
Yeah.
Like you said, because they have so many people that used to work for Goldman in the administration or working in the government in some capacity or another, you know, what's really going to happen? I mean, you know, they'll give the impression that they're raking them through the coals, but it'll be nothing more than, you know, this slap on the hand, don't do it again, be a good little boy, and then send them off to their room without dinner kind of thing. But there's really not going to be any punishment. They're going to continue to do the things they do. And, of course, you know, Goldman's going to sit there and go, hey, you know, buyer beware.
Yeah, they can send them to their room to not have dinner, but these guys from Goldman, when they go to their room, they have catered service and a bar and everything built in their room. So
yeah, exactly. Caviar.
To give an analogy, they're not getting hurt at all.
Plus,
no.
I mean, you guys probably read, some of the reports of what the hearing has been like so far.
Yeah.
And the guys from Goldman, they're they're in there and they all have a big smirk on their face, and as one of the reports I was reading says, they're all lawyered up.
Oh yes.
With the best money that the best lawyers that money could buy, they've got them. They can. Goldman can totally outgun the entire United States government when it comes to spending money and lawyering up for something like this.
Oh, they'll get the Johnny Cochran-esque lawyers on their side. There's just no way that the government could win. No, that's really the idea anyway, because let's face it, they're all working hand in hand.
Yeah, if this is a staged event, Jim, then they're using it maybe to ingratiate themselves, the administration, with the public. And also, it's the timing of this reform for Wall Street. And, of course, he's trying to get everybody on board. And public sentiment is that Wall Street does need to be reformed because a lot of people, common people, have lost their money there. So they feel that they're a bunch of crooks. So does this timing of bringing Goldman Sachs in and making a very public spectacle, is this going to be used to help push this reform? And is the reform really needed, or is this more government control?
Yeah, I think it's more government control. I mean, there is certainly a degree of reform that is needed. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's almost always true. And the saying is true when you have money or invest. It's like, let the buyer beware. And there are a lot of things, as there always have been, that are basically out of control in the financial world and the financial markets. But that is due more to just the nature of what money is, and that it's fluid and it moves, and the nature of man, which is that man's inner nature is self-centered and greedy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you hand your money to somebody to invest, it's let the buyer beware. We all try to do our own due diligence, make sure it's as safe as can be. But, I think everybody out there, especially in the last decade, has been taken at some point